Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated. Welcome to my refresher of Seeking a Sister Wife on TLC's Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and, wherever you can catch it on TLC in your spare time. So I'm going to allow people to come into the room as normal. You're going to get the normal 5 minutes while I finish prepping for today. I'm actually ready to go, but I want to give those who, can't make it exactly at 2:15, give them an opportunity to come to the room. I can see your comments, so please let me know if you have something to say about this. I will put your comment on the screen. And yeah, so hello to the 15 of you who are in the room. Thank you so much, Planning with Danny. I appreciate that lovely compliment. Hi, Tiana. Hey, Teresa. All right, I'm going to go to my branding so that I can get my pictures all ready to go. But this was a really good episode. Actually, these last 2 weeks. First of all, hello. Hello. Where have I been? Last week we had company and it just threw me off. And everything I was planning on doing didn't happen. So everything that I planned on doing as far as cleaning the house goes happened. But as far as like doing the editing, filming the videos, going the lives did not occur. It's just hard for me sometimes, it's just hard. So I won't be on it every single Sunday and every single Monday. I will do my best to make up to you guys later on. All right. Ooh, there's a lot of people in the room now. Yes, Krista, we are here for the mess, indeedy do. I mean, this show, what's interesting about this show is that it is so different than anything I have ever watched. And it is so unique. And I'm trying to traverse this with having respect for the individuals who were in this, and then kind of interjecting what I think may or may not be happening. I'm going to turn on this light and see if anything changes. Is this better? I'm keeping this light on to see if anything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just to better understand how polygamy works outside of spreading religion. And if I believe that the people who are engaging in polygamy are really, especially the people who are not involved with it for a religious reason, they're really into it, I think, because they're polyamorous. Or in the case of Garrick and Danielle, and this is my strong feeling about it, Garrick is over Danielle and he just can't reconcile it with that he wants to actually divorce her. So he's gonna tell her the only way to kind of keep their relationship going is if they bring another wife into it. Yeah, so that's truly just the way I feel about it. And I could be wrong. I just, I'm wanting to kind of let them tell me their story and me just kind of pick it apart and also laugh, right? I mean, because also this is entertaining. So I'm here for it. Hello, JW. Hi, welcome to the room. Hello, Ramsterdam. Hello. Hello, Aminer or a minor. Hello. Hello. Yes, Teresa, we are intrigued by this show. Hi, Megan. Hello. Hello to you. I've never seen your login before. This one either. Call me Mrs. Gray. She's ready. I'm ready. We're all ready. Teresa, it's going well. Thank you so much for asking. And thank you for my glow comment. Thank you. This is the first, I usually when like the first hour or so I've have makeup on, that's what you're seeing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know who else is reviewing this show. Tell me who else is reviewing this show. Like, who else is reviewing this show whose content you really love? Because I'm in 90 Day Fiancé world, and there are so many people around the world who are in love with 90 Day Fiancé that I can find content on every single social media platform. But as far as Seeking a Sister Wife goes, and believe me, I haven't really been seeking those people who are in Seeking a Sister Wife world, but there's not that much happening on Instagram, at least with it. Like, there's not that many people posting about it. So I just want to, find out who those people are and kind of connect with them, create a network. Hi, Jules. Hello. Sabine says this show is everything. Teresa says polygamy is so interesting, especially if it's cultural and not religious. I agree. All right, you guys, it's 5 minutes in. Let's go on ahead and get started. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to this recap refresher. You like how I put that in there? Welcome to this recap refresher of Seeking a Sister Wife. This is season 3, episode 3, and episode 4. One is called Commotions and Commodities, and the other one is called I guess I have to give something up in order to receive something new. I mean, that's not the name of the episode, but that's girl what Danielle says. So let's try to see what couple should we talk about first, because I don't want to jump into the juiciest, right? So here's what I think that the most interesting couples are the Merrifields, which is Danielle, and put their pictures up so you guys can like go along with me. I really do think that Danielle and Garrick and Bert are probably the most interesting, and that's because we are watching on live television Danielle have a breakdown. The next most interesting couple for me are the Clarks, because honey, if looks could kill, Gerard would be dead. Okay? The second most interesting. And then after that, we've got the Joneses, only because of this, like, broke down Jack Sparrow and this please add me to your cult personalities of these two. Then we've got the Winders. They're actually Mormon. So it's interesting because this is, to me, one of the purer forms of polygamy, only because it's rooted in religion and it's a multi-generational type of Western polygamy that I am aware of. Like, I know there's polygamy in other countries around the world, but the Mormon type of polygamy is the one I'm most familiar with. And when I say familiar, I just like put it in quotes. And then after that, we've got the Students. They're interesting because they have been spurned in the past. They had a sister wife marry them all on TV and then just Biggie bounce out of their lives. So I imagine it was like really interesting. But I'm the least interested in the Snowdens. I mean, obviously you can tell by the way I have remembered Ashley's name. But now I know it. It's Ashley, because I just had to go, I have a friend named Ashley, which is why I now know this name. Okay. So who do you want to hear about first? Let's talk about the broke down Jack Sparrow, because they weren't in the second episode. So you guys are going to need a little bit more of a refresher about them. So let's start out with our first couple, and them are the Joneses. Okay, so we've got Tasha and we've got Sidian. So Tasha and Sidian met at work. Sidian was in a marriage with a woman. They had at least living in their house 3 kids, and all 3 kids are his. Not sure if all 3 kids were his wife's. And then they had briefly talked about polygamy. Sorry, you guys, I think that I'm having bad service and I'm not sure why nobody's home. So you would think that there would be like so much Wi-Fi, Anywho. So he was married. He met Tasha. He brought Tasha into the family, and they thought everything was going well, but apparently it wasn't. And Mrs. Jones did not want this. In fact, she did not want this so much that she upped and moved out. No. Let me tell you the truth. So what happened is she didn't like it. So then Tasha felt like, okay, I need to go because I'm the reason why they're not getting along. So she gets up and she leaves. Then Mrs. Jones still leaves the family unit. She still leaves Sidian and the 3 kids, and she bounces. Now, it's not certain whether or not she actually left her kids. Sidian could just, every time they film, the kids could just be at his house. We don't know the ins and outs or whatever. But the way the show has led us to believe is almost like she just left her kids, right? And so now it's Sidian and these 3 kids. So Sidian then calls Tasha and is like, hey, Tasha, like, I still love you. Would you like to come back? Mrs. Jones left. And Tasha was like, yes, this is the only place I've ever felt like I belong in my life. And so they get back together, and now they're there raising the 3 kids. And now they're looking for another sister wife. And it is really awkward to find a wife, because even though this, Ragged Johnny Depp is giving us a look and a vibe of a man who's got it all together. He wears a lot of rings. He wears a little bit of kohl around his eyes. He's got a little bit of eyeliner, maybe some mascara going on. He's got that like dirty, I don't wash myself, look going for him. And you would think that he is somehow Rico Suave, but in actuality, he is a giant nerd who has a hard time talking to women. And so we have a scene after Tasha leaves her mother's house, and her mother basically shocks her by, coming out with all the things that she actually knows about their relationship. They then go try to look for another wife. They're ready to bring somebody into their family. So they go out to a bar. And those two are just sitting with each other talking about how awkward it is. They have a bartender or a server who is helping them out, and her name is Faith. And Sidian asks her out. And it's awkward the way that it's edited together. I don't know how shocked she was. I don't know how Faith truly felt. But Faith says yes, and they go out on a date, I suppose, which we don't see. We just see the fact that he's actually gotten her to say yes to this date. Faith. And they high five each other. Tasha's like, good job, babe. And he's like, I did it. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's hard for them to find people. And I think they're reluctant to find, possible dates because they don't want to go online, which is what Teresa, her mother, was basically saying, don't do, because you can find weirdos online. And I'm like, you can find weirdos in real life, Teresa. Like, what life have you led, ma'am, to where you are not aware that you can find losers and weirdos in real life as well? Anywho, so I think they just don't want to go down that route, which is interesting because, like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it online? It's the easiest way to get as many people as possible, right? That's exactly what I would do. And so Nettie has a very good theory here. She thinks that the waitress was an actress. Huh. Muy interesante. I didn't even think of that. I never think of that. I always just take at face value what it is producers give me. And if she was an actress, like, at least we got some kind of insight on what his game would be like, because he was still nervous to ask out Faith. It says yes, and so we hope the best. They get Faith's number. And that's the end of their segment that I saw in episode 3. They weren't in episode 4. But I have a question. Why does it seem like the wives are super involved in the next women that come? Now, and I'm not talking about at some point. I mean, from the very beginning. It feels like they're all just like troll hunting together. Not troll hunting, but sister wife hunting together. And I understand why you would want to do that logistically within the family unit, in general. But is that how... okay, when you think about like Sophie and Tammy, was Tammy super involved with finding Sophie the way that both Sammy and Sophie are super involved with Kermit's next person? Speaking of Kermit, let's move on to them. So the next couple that or group we're going to call the next group we're going to talk about are the Winders, and they are boring polygamists. Okay, so Sophie grew up in the polygamy lifestyle. Sophie's the one with the longer hair, the redhead. And then we have Tammy, who I don't recall if she grew up in the polygamous lifestyle, but she's definitely Mormon. And I don't know if Kermit grew up in the polygamous lifestyle. So he's a pharmacist, and he also owns a farm. A pharmacist has a farm. Most of his days are either at his 9-to-5 in the city somewhere, in a CVS, or on the farm, running around behind cattle and horses and chickens, I guess, and whatnot. And so in the beginning of their relationship, it was just Tammy, because Tammy's the first wife, and they have a daughter. So then they found homegirl. What's her name? Sophie. Sophie's grandmother is a wife, a polygamous wife. And I don't know if her mother is, but it's definitely something that she's seen in her family and she's seen in her life, and she was down with it. And Kermit, his name is not Kermit. I call him Kermit because that's what he sounds like, and he has the personality of a cardboard. So it's like he doesn't have Kermit's personality, but I call him Kermit Cardboard Kermit, and I can't remember what his real name is, but his name is Cardboard Kermit going forward. So he married Sophie first. Sorry, he married Tammy first. They have this beautiful daughter, and then he married Sophie. And for the longest time, they were not living in the same home because of the strict polygamous laws in the state, and I believe they're in Utah. So they actually lived in different cities. So the times that they spent separate from each other, he was literally in one city, in one house with one wife, and then another city with another wife, another house. But when in one house he has a kid, in the other house he doesn't have a kid. And so recently, now that Sophie is pregnant, they have decided to all cohabitate in the same home. And there has been a little bit of difficulty for the two women because of just the fact that they, for this entire time, have lived separately. So it's like they knew about the other wife, but the other wife wasn't all up in their face in their house trying to like tell them how to clean and stuff. And so it's really interesting because these people have very mild personalities, at least the kind of personalities that aren't coming forward when the cameras are there. And so I'm just like, you don't seem like you guys are ever mad about anything. So I would like to know the intricacies about why you guys living together didn't work. And I'm not saying that they're not telling the truth. I'm just saying, like, I just can't imagine these two ever frustrated or angry. You know, I know how I would feel, but I'm also not somebody who would ever... Well, that's not true. I mean, here's the deal. I would consider polygamy, but I know that I couldn't do it. And not because I'm like, oh, I don't want to share a husband. Like, I don't care about that. I just can't be watching other people's children that aren't mine, you know what I'm saying? And like, I need them to be quiet and they be jumping around and stuff. And that one mom is like, they can jump around. And I'm like, nah, they ain't crisscross. Get off that couch. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think I could do it from that vantage point. Also, like, I would need my husband to be my bestie and he would be so jealous. I mean, the sister wives would be so jealous of our relationship. So I can't do it. It's not me. Anyways, so we have them and they are looking for another wife. So Sophie's pregnant. They're looking for another wife, but they want that wife who they've been courting. Her name is Kimberly. And they want Kimberly to come and visit them before Sophie gives birth, because they say that afterwards, Sophie is going to be so involved with her new baby because she's a new mom. And, you know, it's going to be a bad time to bring in another wife. And they don't want to have to wait for a year. They want to kind of hit the ground running now, which I don't understand why. Especially because we find out in episode 4 that Tammy has suffered several miscarriages and she's really trying to have a baby, to the point where she's mildly jealous of Sophie and Sophie's, you know, pregnancy. And Tammy has a child, you know, they already have the one child in their family already. So to bring in Kimberly, which is the name of the woman that they are courting, kind of seems like, okay, it's a lot. It's a lot to bring in chemistry. It's a lot to bring in Kimberly right now because you don't really know what's going on. And I don't believe, from my recollection, that Kimberly has any ties to the Mormon and or polygamy community. Not sure. So they have a video call with Kimberly to try to bring her to where they are to visit them. And it is so effing awkward. You would think that Kermit having 2 wives, his game would be so on point. I mean, in point. I mean, I'm talking about New York City ballet on point. You know what I'm saying? No. It's like, it's 3 grown adults with kids staring at a woman through a Skype, like, so we were just wondering if you would just so, I mean, so awkward. So awkward. To see if Kimberly will come and see them. Basically, they think if Kimberly won't come out and see them this time, then they might as well just break up with her, because, like, what is the point? The whole point of them talking is so that they can move forward and build a relationship. And if she's unable to meet them or won't take time out of her life to come and meet them and feel that chemistry or that bond, then, like, let's just scratch this one and start over again. So Kimberly agrees to go. And they're very excited. And also, at the same time, they're planning for Sophie to give birth. So Sophie, I think, is about 7 months pregnant. So they want to meet Kimberly before Sophie gives birth. So in the meantime, we have got a baby shower that Tammy is storing for Sophie. She's giving some words of wisdom. Sophie is so grateful that she's able to have a sister wife to help her through, her first pregnancy. Her at her baby shower, we have her grandmother, her mother, her aunt, all these women surrounding her that are at different levels of understanding and accepting polygamy, and just talking about how hard it's going to be, to have Kimberly come into their lives at such a pivotal time, and that perhaps they should wait. But, the three of them are just full speed ahead. I guess, I don't know how many wives what's his face is planning on having, but like, I just don't understand why I have to run to find this third wife. They need to figure out like how the two of them are going to get through all of this. Like, why? I don't get it. Like, what's the magic number of wives? Is it like when you hit 3, then like, okay, you have a full family? That's a lot of kids, bro. I mean, depending on, the woman and if she wants to have how many ever kids, in the beginning, depending on the religion, right? So yeah, that is the end of these guys. You guys have anything to say about this? Call Me Gray says, I appreciate Sophie's family giving her honest insight on adding to their family. Yeah, it was really interesting that Sophie's grandmother talked about a sister wife who ended up leaving after she had her first kid because the life wasn't for everyone. And I wish there was more like information. Like, I wish that there was an actual, I mean, besides obviously we have the Browns, right? Cody Brown and Mary and all of them. But like, was that a good example of polygamy, or was it like a troubled example of polygamy? It seems as a troubled example of polygamy, in my opinion. But like, I would like to see a good version of it, because so far I haven't really seen a good version of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's all working and everyone was so happy. I would like to know like what issues come up, because you already know you're walking into a situation where you're either the third wife and you're either beloved by your husband and hated by your sisters because you're the cute young one, or your husband hardly pays attention to you and he's more into the second wife, or, like, there's got to be that jealousy, right? Because everyone knows, I don't even watch the show, and I know that Cody loves Robin more than he loves any of them. Is that her name, Robin? I don't know. The last wife? Girl. He couldn't, like, before he moved on to the fourth wife, like, what about poor Mary? So, anywho, I don't know about it. Okay, so the next couple that we are going to talk about is, let's talk about the Clarks, because, okay. Okay. All right. So now we've got the Clarks. This is a non-religious based situation. And Gerard thinks of himself as a king, and he thinks of their family as a tribe. He was married to Vanessa for 6 years before he brought in the idea of them finding a second wife. Then they ended up finding Kay. Kay has been with them for 2 years. They recently got into a huge fight, Kay and Vanessa, because Kay is having some very underlying feelings of not feeling loved and worthy of their love and family. She's been gone for about a month, and Vanessa and Gerard actually moved into another home in which Kay has helped them move into. She hasn't moved into herself. So Kay now has 2 jobs. And the reason why Kay has 2 jobs and is fighting to keep her 2 jobs, even though Gerard doesn't want her to work because he feels like it keeps her out of the home and her place is in the house with these kids, she says that she doesn't ever want to be put in a position where she's financially dependent upon him, because she doesn't know if things are going to work out. And so she's like, I need to have this second job and I'll do my best. So where we're at is Vanessa and her have kind of reconciled a little bit. And Kay is coming after work, after working like a double. I guess she works like an 11-hour job somewhere. And she came to the house to have like a tribal meeting, Gerard supposedly calls it. But let me tell you, Gerard should not be the king of anybody's castle. He does not have the skills to be able to do so. I would be so frustrated with him if I were Kay, and I completely understand her perspective, her point of view, and where she's coming from. So Kay gets to the house and she's already feeling like she's the piece of trash that he picked up and dusted off and brought into his home. And so I don't know, listen, I'm going to go on ahead and give Gerard the benefit of the doubt and say that the producers played him and they've chopped up and edited and switched around and did all kinds of stuff in this conversation to lead us to believe that he really said all of these things to her in the way in which it was presented to us. But basically, she's saying, don't make me out to be the villain. There are things that are happening and you're not perfect either, Gerard. And there's a lot we have to talk about. And I will slowly work my way into moving in here. And he's like, what you did was unacceptable. And you leave a wake of destruction when you're upset. And just basically saying things to her that, to me, if I were her feeling so insecure, are definitely fighting words. It's like he wasn't trying to reconcile this relationship without putting her in her place or forcing her to confront some truth that he finds it necessary to be able to, for her to acknowledge or to say, right? It's like his whole thing is that he wanted to know. He wanted her to know that she was wrong and her behavior was inappropriate and that she needs to make another decision when things are going awry in her life and that she blah, 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 her. And of course she gets very angry and says that you're not going to sit up here and make me feel like I'm nothing, like all of this is my fault. And he's like, you're the one who left us. You did this. This is your fault. And she's like, no. So she gets up and leaves and he follows her out the door. And she's like, I don't need you to walk me out. And he's just like, like saying things to her and like, I guess trying to get her to come back. And she's just like, no, because what is not going to happen is you're not going to make me feel guilty or indebted to you because you picked me up out of the gutter and brushed me off and sat me next to your trophy. And this is the trophy girl, Vanessa. So she definitely feels like Vanessa's the trophy wife, Vanessa's the perfect wife, and she's just the wife that he found somewhere and brought up to their level. And for whatever reason, Kay is not meeting that standard. So she is beyond pissed, outside of herself, frustrated that this man who's supposed to love her, who's supposed to be her husband, her best friend, her partner, her king, is just completely letting her down in this moment, right? And we can all see him doing it. And she's like, you haven't done anything to help me. And his response is something like, obviously, as though like he just can't be like, oh, the way she's acting right now is so uncalled for. Like, I'm so embarrassed. Like, that was the kind of thing that I got from that. So she's in her car, she takes off her mic, and then Vanessa comes out there to talk to her. And Vanessa's like, look, I get it. He can make a bitch angry. He can mess up a whole situation and make us feel like we're little and, angry. But I need you to be my sister wife, and I love you. And Kay is like, I love you too. And so there is something going on with the dynamic of this family to where Gerard is the problem. And while, Kay can't help but blame Vanessa for the stigma or the pedestal in which Gerard has put Vanessa on, maybe there's some pressure from Gerard to treat Vanessa in a way because she is the first wife and because he introduced polygamy to her and had to get her on board with it. So it's just real interesting. Something I do like is that the kids haven't really been around and we saw two of them. I thought there was four. We saw two of them in this episode and it was just real quick. And I was like, you know what? Great. I don't need to see the kids in this situation. Not to say that I think they're in a wrong situation, but like just, I just don't want to see them. But like, it's just really interesting that Gerard is not the king of this castle the way he likes to think of himself that he is. And I don't think that he can handle two women because he's not loving and handling Kay. He's not giving her what she needs. So Kay comes back into the house after Vanessa bids her to do so, to finish up the conversation. And his first thing, or at least the first thing we see is, so from what I understand in this conversation is that you believe that I don't value you as much as I value Vanessa. And she's like, yes. And he's like, well, I just want to say, and she's like, well, the things that you were saying just now, really upset me. And he's like, but I just want you to know that what I was saying was very valid to the situation that's occurring. And she's like, I told you that I would do my best to come to the house. I told you that. I said I would come after work. I'm coming tomorrow. I'm not going to be here until after 8 p.m. because I will come off of working a long 11-hour double. Yes, I will come here because I don't want you to think that I don't care about this family. And then he's like, so when are you going to quit your second job? Basically, that's not good enough. Like, you need to quit your second job, come back here and be in this house full time, and then worry about the outside because your second job isn't doing anything for the tribe. And again, it's like he can see that she wants some kind of independence, and he doesn't want her to want that. He doesn't want her to have that. And it's a problem for me. And I need to specifically know why. Like, it can't just be because of the kids. Them kids ain't hers. So if you're trying to save on a nanny by having her stay here, then say that. But if the girl wants to go to school and work 2 jobs, y'all don't live on a ranch. Y'all don't live in a polygamous colony somewhere where there can ever be a situation where you can just turn her out and she is left with nothing. No, no, no. Y'all ain't trying to live in the real world right now. Like what? Like, she has got to protect herself because you're not the king that you claim to be. Call Me Miss Grace says them kids are hers or aren't hers or at hers. Say it again, Miss Gray. They're not hers. They're as far as I know, those physically aren't her children. I thought they were just Gerard's and Vanessa's. But if they are, let me know. Oh, aren't. Okay. Those kids aren't her kids. So I don't know. Miss K is 22 years old. So if he did meet her, I don't think it's when she was a teen. I think when she was like 20. Then when they got together, maybe she was 19. I don't know. So yeah, I obviously feel like there's some kind of back situation where she must have not had the kind of support from home. You know, maybe she didn't have a family. Like, we don't know what Kay's situation is, but now she's trying to find her independence, and he has a problem with that, which is wrong because she's only 22. Like, let the girl live her life. Like, if she wants to go to nursing school, she wants to figure out a way to support herself and maybe her potential kids from this family. She obviously hasn't had any kids with you. Like, talk to her about what it is that she wants. And if what it is that she wants isn't aligned with what you want, then y'all maybe should part ways. But don't keep trying to have her look stupid and make her feel bad. That's not what a good husband would do at all. Oh, so we're done with them. Let's move on to the next couple. Let's talk about the Snowdens. So we got Ashley and Dimitri. Excuse me, sorry. So Dimitri, girl who knows what he does for work, and Ashley, girl who knows what she does for work, but they live in California. They used to live in Atlanta. And they have Crystalline with them. Crystalline is a sister wife or potential sister wife from South Africa. She's beautiful. She's got 2 little girls, and she's only going to be in California for 5 days to hang out with them and get to know them. When she talks about moving to the US, though, she gets a little dead behind the eyes. And I think it's just because it's a lot to talk about. But then they also introduce another potential sister wife, and her name is Taylor. So apparently they started dating Crystalline first, and then Taylor came into the picture. But because they lost Vanessa, they were like, we don't know if, any drama is going to happen. So like, let's just bring in 2 wives at one time and let the chips fall where they may. So they are definitely taking on a lot more than what they probably can handle. But I think the scar of Vanessa really like penetrated. And so they tell Crystalline about Taylor. Crystalline is okay with it. I think they've had some group Skypes, but for the first time, it's Crystalline, the Snowdens, and then Taylor on Skype. So they have a conversation with her just about how excited she is. And she says that when she was little on the schoolyard playground, that, she was always stealing other people's boyfriends because she didn't understand why, there couldn't be plural relationships. And so she feels like polygamy is something that's right up her alley. She's 29 years old and she doesn't have any kids. She's very single and independent. And so Ashley's really worried about how she's going to manage with being inside of this family because she is coming from such a single life, right? So Crystalline leaves. It's a tearful goodbye at LAX. And then so they don't make the same mistake of 2 hours to LAX from where they live in the valley and then 2 hours back. They go on ahead and tell Taylor to take a Uber to where they live. So Taylor gets dropped off the day after, a couple days after Crystalline goes home. They fix up the guest room, and Taylor gets there, and she's a ball of energy. You know, she wants to know why there's a baby gate at her door because she wants all the babies to come in, and the kids are really excited, and they're jumping on her, and they run towards her. Now, listen, if that were me, I love kids, right? But in the beginning, I need to see the people who I came here. I need to see the man that I came here to be in love with. So I was like, now we do need to see how interacts with children, but on one, Jesus, it's a lot with these children's. So Taylor comes in, and Ashley's just, she's excited about it, but at the same time, she's worried about Taylor coming in because at least Christine has kids, and Taylor's coming into possibly 5 children that all of a sudden she's going to be responsible for. And then if she wants to have kids, there's that whole aspect of their relationship. So it's really interesting. Ooh, what is this? Ashley says, they freak me out because they seem like they are trying to create a superficial light-skinned Afro-punk tribe with pseudo-spirituality. All Ashley really wants is someone to take care of her house and man. Ooh, I never even thought about that. Not to say that they're trying to create a super officially light-skinned Afro-punk tribe. I don't necessarily, is Taylor, I don't know. I didn't even think about it like that. But I also didn't watch their first season. Or their second season. So I don't actually know, but I feel like they dated brown-skinned women too. But I just don't know, to me, like I said, this house feels like it has a bunch of sage and crystals in it. There's a lot of Bindi-esque jewelry that's going on with Ashley. She's very Mother Earth. I'm not going to pluck my eyebrows. I refuse to, in fact. I refuse to get them shaped even a little bit. And that's what I personally don't trust. That is what I personally don't trust. You a grown-ass woman with 3 kids and you won't let someone with a thread or a tweezer or a wax strip near them eyebrows? Why? Why? Okay, Ashley, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Okay, so they're in for the ride, I guess. They're taking us all on a ride. I didn't write down any more notes besides Taylor comes in with all the energies. The kids are doing the most. That is what I wrote on my notes. So, hey, Tammy. Hey, Wah. It's almost midnight here, UK. So I'll watch in the morning. Wanted to say hi since I actually caught one of your live recaps. Hi, Tammy. Thank you for joining. Good night. Good night. All right, you guys. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. There are 160 people in this room. I'm not on YouTube, so I don't know how many likes there are, but Facebook tells me that there's 2 likes on Facebook. So if you guys could take a moment right now to, I'm gonna sing the song. Ready? 1, 2. Thumbs, 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 thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. I said thumbs, 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 thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Yeah. Go on ahead and give me up, you guys. I'm gonna sip some water while you. Thank you. And Tiana, thank you so much for being in the room and supporting me and doing what you got to do. Kick out. I don't know if there's been a lot of craziness in here, but Monique says, I get that I don't use deodorant vibe from them. No, I think that they do. I think that they're definitely use native deodorant though, like a supernatural deodorant. I use native. Natural deodorant. Okay, so let's move on to our next couple. And I think this is the last couple. Save the best for last, you guys. Okay, let's just talk about this because this is a whole Oh, child. Like, I mean, watching Danielle. This is a glamorized version of their family. This is what Danielle actually looks like. Okay, let's go back and forth. Okay, this is Danielle when her and Garrick were young. I almost didn't think it was the same person. I was like, is this the same? Is this Danielle? As a baby, she looks so different. Something happened. Something has happened. Not just two kids. Something has happened to Danielle. She's gone through it, and I don't know if it's depression or like postpartum or something. Something has laid itself heavily on this woman's brow, okay? Because how does this one turn into this one? But when she's like turned all the way up, she's this one. You get what I'm saying? It's so interesting to me. So, Garrick, this story is actually about Danielle, you guys. If you thought anything else, if you thought that this wasn't about Danielle, this is about Danielle because we are watching her have an entire whole breakdown on national TV. Okay. So this is what I wrote, and it's a quote from Danielle. Sometimes you have to lose something to gain something. And that is when she had to divorce her husband of 13 years so that he can K1 visa marry the sister wife, Bert, from Brazil. Okay. And they were already having marital problems before that. He's printed out divorce papers because he just, quote, take it more prior to them even deciding to bring in a sister wife. Danielle is having a very hard time with it. So they leave the kids with her parents and they go off to Cabo, which looks, beautiful. Who's trying to go to Cabo now after watching this episode? This girl, okay? Beautiful. Which apparently they've been to a couple of times, like 3 or 4 times, says Danielle. So they get there and there's so much anticipation waiting for Bert, which is what they call her, Roberta. They call her Bert. And so much anticipation. They haven't seen her in a full year. Garrick can't wait to be with his boo thing. Danielle can't wait to meet with Sissy or sister, as they're calling each other now, because this is not rooted in pseudo fake spirituality or Christianity or Mormonism, or the kind of Christianity that they are practicing, or Mormonism. There is no clear-cut line about how Danielle is supposed to behave. And so Danielle is just her behavior with Bert and her intrusiveness. It feels more than any of the other couples. Like Ashley feels like she's pretty involved with Dimitri and the women, but Danielle is like really trying to push herself in this because this is her husband of 13 years who has somehow convinced her that this is the road they need to take. And part of that is a divorce. Now, there's no other way for them to get Bert to the US. That is true. Unless Bert, like, I don't know, changed her occupation, went to school and did a couple of things to where she could at least get a tourist visa. But no, girl. She had to divorce. And Bert is very, very sensitive to the fact that Danielle had to divorce Garrick in order for this to happen. So Bert has made it her business to make Danielle feel comfortable. And Danielle has made it her business to make this entire situation awkward. So they're at the bar waiting for her. And they get there and they all run up and hug each other. And Bert is kissing Garrett, kiss peck. And then they have this weird, awkward kissing session where Danielle accidentally kissed Bert on the lips because she so wants to interject herself into their moment. And my thought is, why doesn't she just let them hug, let them kiss, and then go in for the hug and smooches with? Why does she want to just like be there? It's like, it was so, girl, it was real uncomfortable watching this on camera. Danielle is crying. And she says it's because she's so happy to see Bert. But sis, you shouldn't be so close to her the way you're as close to her. And it's weird. It's because you really want her to be your wife too. You really want to feel a part of this relationship. Like, it is bad. you shouldn't have even come on this vacation if that was the case, or you and Bert should have met separately. Maybe she should have come first, right? And her and Bert could have spent 3 days together getting to know each other, right? And then Garrett come in. So the understanding is that Danielle was going to allow Garrett to sleep with Bert, that they were going to share a room, and Danielle would have her own room. And this first time, not ever probably, but the first time Danielle is going to sleep alone after sleeping next to somebody for 13 years. And not only is that person in another room with another woman, but the rooms have the same wall. What? Why? Girl, why? It's like a glutton for punishment. And Bert is feeling like she needs to step in and support Danielle and put aside her feelings, which Garrett has a hard time doing. It feels like Bert is able to understand where Danielle is coming from, but Garrett can't. Or he's trying and he's failing. And it's sad. It's really sad. Okay. So they have that awkward kiss, and then we have a confessional where Garrick says that they call Bert the tiny wife and they call Danielle the large wife. And like, oh no, you don't do that. No, you don't. And this is the large wife. This is how the large wife feels. This is, Kay is like, excuse me? And I'm like, excuse me as well. No. This is not funny. It's not okay. Maybe it got lost in translation somehow and they thought it was cute and funny. But guess who doesn't think it's cute and funny? Danielle. And listen, neither would I. So Roberta is, like I said, really there for Danielle. Sisterhood is very important for them. And Danielle is just immediately jealous. I mean, she is immediately jealous when she sees them. Just immediately. And Garrett cannot put his wife's feeling, or his ex-wife, girl now, feeling in front. He can't. He feels like this vacation is for him and Bert to get to know each other, and they're having their pre-honeymoon, and he wants to take advantage of all of this, and Danielle's just gonna have to effing get it together. Okay, and part of me is like, yeah, Danielle just needs to effing get it together. Like, how long you can cry about this, Danielle? You agreed to divorce this man for this to happen. At this point, you need to get up on the horse, ride it. Shit or get off the pot, some girl. Because watching you suffer makes us mad at Garrett, but also at some point, I'm going to start holding Danielle responsible for her own choices. Okay? Crazy. All right, so Roberta asks her if she's okay. She says, I'm putting my notes right here. She's like, you're going to be alone. Is that okay? And Danielle's like, yeah, it'll be fine. And then the next morning they wake up and we see that Danielle's bed hasn't been slept in. And then we go into Garrick and Roberta's room. And then we see Danielle in the bed with them, in that queen size bed with them. Them just like, him just in the middle. And we're like, what the F just happened? So apparently Roberta got up in the middle of the night. She didn't want to really have sex with Garrett too much because she felt so bad about Danielle. So she goes into Danielle's room and they end up staying up the whole night talking, just exchanging phones and translating. And they stay up till 2 a.m. And then Roberta just tells Garrick that, no, Danielle needs to sleep in here with us. So Danielle sleeps on one side of Garrick, and I'm pretty sure Garrick is pissed. He's probably trying to get into Roberta's panties the entire time. And my thought is, aren't they like supposed to stay virgins until married or whatever? Aren't they supposed to wait until married before they have sex? So this next day is all about planning Roberta's wedding. And Danielle cannot help but introduce herself into this wedding plan. She feels like, because I had to give up my marriage, I'm really worried that Garrick has forgotten about our wedding, his first wedding, with his first wife, and that, I need to have my place in this too. I'm not going to walk down the aisle, but I mean, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be like the maid of honor or something. And like, it is so embarrassing to watch Danielle talk about herself in this marriage. When she says that she hopes that Garrick doesn't forget about his first wedding, and she starts to compare the wedding of 20-year-olds because they were like 20 when they got married. Okay. So, like, if she's comparing the boring American, normal, outside, inside wedding of of teenagers, of like 20-year-olds to this wedding that they're gonna have in Cabo, which they have to have in Cabo because her family, Bert's family, can just come into Mexico. They don't need a visa. So that's how they're gonna have her family at their wedding. But like she's just like, well, hope he doesn't forget about our wedding. And I'm like, you're what? She's like, yeah, we didn't have this scenery for our wedding. I'm like, girl, it is like it. I was like, girl, you need to keep those insecurities. Some of the insecurity, girl, I could see, but other insecurities, I'm like, girl, tamp that down. Okay. Like, let Bert and Garrett plan this wedding. Just let them plan it. This is Bert's first wedding. Let her plan it. You've already got this far. Now you can't start acting funny. Well, I guess she is. She can. She's doing it. She says, does my ceremony mean as much? And I'm hard for her. It is so weird. She even starts to cry because she says that she feels like she's not involved in the planning process. And so then she says, to the wedding planner that they're in a plural relationship and that, she's not going to be walking down the aisle, but there's definitely going to be some interaction from her. And the woman's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. Congratulations, you two. Like, whatever you guys want to do, here's just your options. And you can tell, or at least the camera is making it seem like Garrett is kind of annoyed with Danielle and kind of wishes that sometimes she would just like go away and allow these two to like get to know each other, because she already stole their first night. So apparently, though, they did have a quickie when Danielle went back to her room to get some of her stuff, that they quickly had sex. And the whole time Roberta was worried that Danielle was going to walk in on them. I'm just like, how do is it, what? Is this their first time having sex? And like, why was it so quick? Also, like, why haven't they hammered out how this was going to be? And why did Danielle agree to sleep in the same bed with them so that she wouldn't feel left out? This is so hard. This is so hard to watch, but it's so interesting at the same time. And again, like I said, you guys, there's going to be a point where I'm no longer feeling sorry for Danielle, because she should just walk away from this if it doesn't serve her. And she's not. So Giselle says, this show and Cody Brown show makes me know for damn sure I do not want to be in a polygamous marriage knowingly. So anyways, that is the end of this episode with them. I hope you guys are refreshed for tomorrow's episode, ready to jump in and get into the nuances that are seeking a sister wife. And like I said, the show is so interesting, and poor Danielle. All right, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share on any social media platforms. Let me know in the comment section or in the chat if you guys know of any other people who are talking about seeking a sister wife, so that I can check them out and see what their opinions are. But yeah, I really do enjoy this show. I'm just so sad that I don't have enough time to give you guys the content the way I would want to because of all the shows I'm reviewing. But that's it. Monique, yeah, you do have to watch this show. Monique, the best thing about it is only an hour. So it's not like a 90 Day Fiancé or a Married at First Sight. It takes up your entire life to watch it. And by the time halfway through, you're just, can I go to sleep? No, it's not. It's quick. It's dirty. They don't even have all the couples in every single episode, which is nice. So they kind of focus in on one. We got 2 segments with the Clarks. Did we get 2 segments with, I think we got 2 segments with all the couples, and then we didn't get any of the Joneses in this episode. So I really do like the format. I love an hour. And, if you have like a TLC go, it's only 45 minutes, girl. Whew, thank God. But yes, thank you guys so much for being here for this impromptu. We are watching the Tell All tonight. Please watch Chris Farah and Reality Gaze, I believe their name of their podcast is, where they're going to have an after show. So if you like 90 Day Fiancé, you like Chris Farah, she's going to go live today, 7:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check out her video, check out her channel. I will be there, and I'm really going to love this. I'm really, really, really gonna love this final episode of the Tell All. I'm tired of 90 Day Fiancé. All right, have a fantastic day, you guys. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Thumbs, 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 thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. I said thumbs, 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 thumbs it